Hi, I'm Margie and welcome back to my kitchen. What I've made today are marshmallows. It's Easter and I thought this would be a great time to make some pretty marshmallows. So these are all different colors. They're pink and green and yellow. And then on this side here, I have some toasted coconut marshmallows. Now the flavoring in these marshmallows is just vanilla, but there's all sorts of options that you can use. And I'll talk about that in the video. I forgot to show you that I also made moon pies with the marshmallow, and I have different color marshmallow in those too. For the marshmallows, here I have the water. I'm going to sprinkle gelatin, and I use Knox gelatin. I believe there's 4 packages in a box, and each package has 1 tablespoon in it, and this recipe called for 2 tablespoons. And that water is kind of cold. Now that will dissolve that gelatin in about 5 minutes, and then it will kind of harden up again. It'll just get like gelatinous, and before you add it to the marshmallows, you're going to make it warm again by putting that little container into another container that has some hot water. I'm going to stir it a little bit. Doesn't really help to stir it, but it's going to dissolve. Now I'm starting to make the marshmallows, and that's my water. And that's a 1/4 teaspoon there, but I'm going to only add a half of that. It only calls for 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Now this is the sugar and the cornstarch which I had in this bowl sitting out on my counter, and it got dry, so it's hard to get out. But it's actually going to be just fine because we're going to heat all this up together. Stir your ingredients until they're all melted before it comes to a boil. This is my Taylor candy thermometer, and that ball needs to be under the liquid so it can register your temperature. If you find it's not under the liquid, then you have to lean it forward. And this pot was like that, so I have to take that off and lean it forward, so now the ball will be under the liquid. Now the gelatin has gotten kind of, gelatinous, so I'm going to have to melt it again by putting it in that container of hot water. So bring it up to 280. And now I'm preparing my mixer. You'll have about 15 minutes before it comes to temperature, and that's my gelatin in a little bowl of hot water, and see how it becomes liquid again. It should be warm when you add it to the mixer bowl. So there's your vanilla, which you can use any kind of flavoring that you like. Those are vegetable food colors. Now we're going to toast the coconut, which is something you really should do before you start making the marshmallows, because the coconut takes about 20 minutes. You can use it hot, that doesn't matter, but you do want to have it ready. Because once the marshmallows are ready to take out of the bowl, you want everything to be ready for them. So you can use plastic wrap for this if you like. I just have parchment, so I'm doing that. I have a little video on how to make a piece of parchment that fits into a pan like that, like a brownie pan. And that's my cornstarch. Now I'm going to put some coconut on the other side. As much as you like, because the marshmallows are only going to stick to what it's going to stick to, and then everything else you can just use later. So there's my gelatin. It goes in first, and that's nice and warm and all melted. And now I'm going to add the corn syrup and sugar and water. You want to do that very slowly and pouring it in, and have the mixer on very low because it will splatter. Don't worry about scraping the side of the pot or your mixing bowl. So after a couple of minutes, you can start to raise the speed of the mixer. And the marshmallows only take about 10 minutes. It's like making whipped cream. And your bowl is going to be very hot. I have to hold my mixer down. My beater doesn't really touch the sides of the pan sometimes, of the bowl. So I hold it. Here I'm putting a piece of tape down to hold it because it's going to take 10 minutes. At first it will look like it's not going to happen, and then all of a sudden, I guess maybe it cools down a little bit, and they fluff up. So now they're done, except for the vanilla. And once the vanilla is in, I'll beat them for just a little bit more, just to get that all incorporated and even. If you want to have all pink marshmallows, add your color now. But I'm going to make a few different colors. So the marshmallow won't stiffen up right away, but you want to work as quickly as you can, but don't rush. I'm making a little moon pie. I made some chocolate cupcakes, and I just took the tops of the cupcakes and I made a little moon pie. So here I'm making my colors. And because it's Easter, I like to make very light colors. So when you put the marshmallow in, you'll see it really well when I put it on the coconut. But you sort of just let it fall on top of the cornstarch from your spoon, because if you try to spread it, you're going to pull the cornstarch off the bottom of your parchment. See, watch here. You can see it really well. Get my hand out of the way. I just drop it on the coconut. You don't have to spread it out because it will, as you see with the other ones, they spread a little bit. You could probably put the green on top of the red and the yellow on top of the green, and then when you cut them, there'll be 3 layers of color. So that's more coconut. Then I'm going to add some cornstarch to the others. You can just use your fingers just like I did to spread that cornstarch around, because wherever the cornstarch goes, the marshmallows will be very dry. That's the purpose of the cornstarch, is to make the marshmallows not so sticky. Then you can store them. The marshmallows are all ready to cut. So first I'm going to do the coconut. So I have a bowl with some more coconut in it. And I'm going to try to get these out. I don't think I'll tear this. Okay, so I'm going to take these out, put them on a wooden board, and flip them over so get them off the paper. We're just going to cut them, and I'm going to just dump them into my bowl, and then we'll get the coconut on all the bare sides. And I like to cut my marshmallows, and since they're homemade, cut them in whatever shape you want. Now I'm just going to toss them, making sure all the edges are covered in the coconut. And then we'll have our marshmallows. Now I'm going to do the regular marshmallows. I'm going to try to get rid of this coconut on here. Not everybody likes the coconut. Then we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take these out and flip them over onto a board. And remove the paper. Don't worry about all the cornstarch, because we're going to be actually adding more after we cut them. So I have a bowl with a strainer. Just going to strain some of this cornstarch. Some people may be thinking, why don't you use powdered sugar? Powdered sugar is just so much sweeter and becomes more sticky. Cornstarch just works better. Now I'm not going to worry about where the colors start and where they end. I'm just going to go ahead and cut them, because I think that if I have yellow and pink together, that'll be fine. This one's got lots of coconut on it, so I'm going to get rid of it. You can also use a scissor to cut these marshmallows if you like. Make them as big or small as you want. How pretty the yellow is. They're pretty when they're different colors. There's a pink and yellow one. Here's going to be a pink, yellow, and green one. I'm going to make 2 of them. And then we're going to do the same thing with these marshmallows that we did with the coconut. We'll toss them in the... We're going to toss them in the cornstarch. When you're cleaning out your containers, when you make candy, the containers like the pot that you're using, just put some hot water in it, let it sit for a while, and it'll all that cooked on sugar will come off. So to take these out, I put them back into the strainer and I just kind of toss them a little bit. See? Helps get that powder off of them. Toss.